Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Welcome to Wake Up. Yes, this is going to be such a juicy show. I am so excited to be back on Wake Up. It's been a minute. Let's go. So we have such a hot show, hot topic today. You know, it's Truth Tea with Miss Meika, and we are about to turn the heat up. Yes. I am so excited. We have Four Kings. It's going to be a beautiful conversation. So welcome everybody who is coming in. Welcome everybody. Come off mic. Good morning. Good morning. I am so excited to see these faces this morning. We have Kinja Dixon, Jude Bernard, Lerrod Smalls, Ted Crawford. It's my heart is full. My heart is full. I can't believe these dudes said yes to the queen, and we are going to rock it. Yes, thank you, Boo. It's Stacia. My girl is Stacy is on. Stacy is saying yes to the hair. Yes, thank you. Welcome, everyone. Welcome. Good morning. Go get your notes, go get your pen, go get some water, whatever you need. Let's get into it. Good morning, Tawana, Scott.
Good morning, sister. All right, I'm getting ready for work, so I'm listening while I'm moving.
Yes, do what you got to do. Good morning, everyone. Good morning.
Good morning, Meika.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm great, thank you.
Good morning. Good morning,
Peace and
Chris.
blessings.
Peace and blessings. Good morning. Good morning, Purple. I miss you. I miss all of you. We're about to rock, okay? Let's get into it.
Wake up, everybody. It's time to get up. Wake up, everybody. It's time to get up. Stay woke, stay woke, stay woke. It's time to get up. Stay woke, stay woke, stay woke. It's time to get up. We're healing, we're dealing, we're growing. Together, releasing. We're teaching, we're moving. Together, we're learning, discerning. We're striving. Together, we're leading, connecting, transforming. Together.
Meika, you're muted.
Good morning, everyone. And welcome to Wake Up. I am your girl, Miss Meika, and I am super excited to deliver this and facilitate this show today. I'm a thought healer. I come on to wake up and I heal thought. That's what I do for a living. I do one-on-one sessions with people. And if you're questioning, what is a thought healer? So everything that is created on this planet, whether it is creation of life or destruction, it all comes from thought. So what I do is I heal the thoughts that get in the way of your progress. We heal the thoughts. We take a fine tooth comb through all the thoughts that are in the way of your growth or in the way of your juicy life. So that's what I do. And we bring those thoughts into reality because most people don't live in reality. They live in their interpersonal reality, and that is their opinions, their perspectives, their ideals, right, and their perceptions. And so what I do is we bring it into reality of the facts of life, the actual factuals of life. So that's a little bit about me. I am a mother of 3 kings, 3 adult men. I can't believe it. I just had a birthday. And so I am super excited about this new year, this new journey. And I am here to deliver this awesome session with these 4 extraordinary kings, these 4 juicy, successful, vulnerable, and just amazing men in my life. And so I asked them to have this conversation about sex and intimacy. And I've known them all for a few years. And so, we kick it from time to time. And I just wanted, their perspective on this topic. So let me just introduce you to this conversation. It's going to be awesome. So, and to these men. So we have Kinja Dixon. You could spotlight Kinja. Welcome to Wake Up Everybody. We also have, yes, this is Kinja. And so welcome, Kinja. And we also have Ted Crawford. Welcome, Ted. And we also have Jude Bernard.
Good morning.
Good morning, Jude, and thank you. Welcome to Wake Up. And we also have, and most of you know, the lightning bolt, Lerrod Smalls. So he's been on the show. He's been a king on the show. We've done a few sessions together. And so these are the kings in my life. And I just wanted to touch on this topic about sex, love, and intimacy. And we're all of a certain age. We're all over 40. So things are just not the same like they were when we were in our 20s. Our perspectives have changed. Our lives have changed. We have grown. We've done all kinds. We've gone through so many things. And so I just wanted to know from a male's perspective, and why this topic is so important to me is because love is important to me, especially, chocolate love, right? And human beings coming together and building communities, because I grew up in a community where there was a Mr. Jenkins and Mr. and Mrs. Fitzpatrick, and there were couples and they were building communities. And I think every single person on my block, they owned their homes and they were married. And times have changed, and we have seen, a lot of individualism, a lot of successful, people, but still operating in this very individual way. And so I just wanted to bring together this conversation of what's going on. What is your perspective? And you guys all have different ideas, because I spoke to each and every one of you, and it was just like so awesome. So, I'm talking about marriage. And so I'm going to start with Lerrod. Lerrod, how long have you been married?
Boom. Okay, so good morning.
Good morning.
Skipping straight to it, right? Because I'm sure we have a lot to cover today.
Yes, we do.
I have been, it will be 16 years for me.
Wow.
August 7th.
Congratulations.
Yeah, praise God for that. I'm excited.
Yes. And
Has it been easy?
I love your wife. I love cute. I just love her. I love her. So, what actually had you say, all right, let's get married? Like what transitioned you?
Okay, so the full transparency of it was completeness, right? Like I had this, all right, so I've done I've done the steps, and this is the very next step.
So it's like a checklist, like
It was a checklist.
business,
Yeah.
this, that.
Right.
Mhm.
At the point that I proposed to my wife, which was in the Christmas of '03, right? It was around that time that I started having that thought, and it was on New Year's of '04, right? So around the Christmas, I started having the thought, and in like 4 or 5 days, I came up with this is what I was gonna do. And then on New Year's, at the bell, I just, I proposed to her, and that was it. It was like, all right, I had already built a business. I had bought a home already. I felt like, all right, this is the next logical thing to do in the progression. My mom would be proud if I got married, and I really love this woman. This is the thing to do. That's what.
Awesome. So, for those who don't know you, Lerrod, there are people on the show who are new, who have not met you on the show. Can you just introduce yourself a little bit about who you are and what you do?
Okay, so I am God's son, a husband, a daddy, and an entrepreneur in that order. All right, and that's how I see my life, and that's how I operate. I have been as high as making millions of dollars before I was 30 years old, running multiple companies, and had started my own franchise business, to being absolutely bankrupt and searching for change to put gas in my car. You know what I'm saying? I have been on that.
Who been there? Who been there? Raise your hand. You been there? Mhm.
Yeah, I got two for that. I got two hands for that, right? I have, man, I have been in absolute love and ecstasy with my wife, and I have jumped out of the window of my brownstone to get away from her.
Because it's dual, right? We love them, and then oh Lord,
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So I have really traveled the gambit of what it means to be a man in this century, right, who has crossed over from, I guess, generation X, right, into these new um, this this new generation that we have, this millennial generation, and crossing over in that experience. And I could say this, that the trials that I have gone through have developed me into a person who is open, who is loving, who is sharing, and who is a part of this experience, this human experience.
Awesome. Thank you. And so, you also run Black Warrior King. We see the sign flipping, right there. So people might be wondering, what is that?
Okay.
What is Black Warrior King?
Okay. So Black Warrior King is what I gave birth to through my own crucible, right? The crucible is like when you go through something in order to become something else, right? A trial. So my life was in turmoil at one point, right? And it was like where I could not see my head from my ass. I couldn't figure out what the hell was going on and how I could solve the problem. And it wasn't no matter of book, coaching, or system that I could find. And then I found something that started to work for me. And it was like a process. And when I went through it, it changed everything about me from the core. I realized that I had not got the book. When I was a kid, I didn't get the book, How to Be a Man, and I was operating like a little boy with a big toy. So I just—
And your wife had to go through that with you.
Yes, she surely did. As I was running through the daycare, banging on everybody's head with my brick, right? So I decided that it was too big for just me. I had changed everything about me. My life started to actually work. I had tested it and become the crash test dummy. And I decided that I was going to put together a tribe of men, Black men, who in our community, we don't get the book on being what it is. We systemically have been suffering from all kinds of other oppressions, but the biggest one was between my ears. And I decided to do what I could to liberate them by developing a tribe. And in this tribe, we talk about the things that make it work so that a man can live complete, not just be strong on one spectrum, whether it be money or finance, to your body, to your relationship, and all those things. And we do it in harmony, and we do it together. And that is what Black Warrior King and the rise of the Black Warrior movement is all about.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you for that introduction. So Kinja, we had this amazing conversation about intimacy, and Kinja, is a speaker, and he's just all over the world, and he's a traveler, and he just does so many great things with students. And so Kinja, like, we had this conversation about sex, love, and intimacy. And I mean, I've known you have shared on Facebook clearly about being celibate, right? And so that was interesting to me about how do you connect to intimacy through celibacy, right? And so I want you to just share a little bit about that, and then share about what you do and who you are.
In 2016, after, I would say, the best friendship and relationship that I ever went through in my life, due to my traveling schedule, my young lady, we had a talk and decided that it was time and on her end for us to take a few steps back, because when we started the relationship, we didn't have any expectations, but her getting comfortable with a dude that's in the beginning of his new phase, traveling the world, doing this long distance, talking on the phone situation, wasn't her idea of what she wanted in the long term. And so it hurt me. And when I took a step back and just started working continuously on the 4 pillars that are the foundation of recreationism, which is the lifestyle that I have lived since 2009 and that I've been honored to help others dive into. As I worked on those pillars, health, emotional intelligence, hunger to gain new knowledge, and getting better at what I do for a living, I just continued to start looking at love in different definitions. And so as I continue to just day by day work on these things, more creations came from me, but my definition of love has expanded beyond a person-to-person scenario. And it sounds kind of crazy even when I say it, but I really look at things from a universal perspective. So I look at everything as like one, and it's just crazy. I just remember one time on New York on the subway in 2014, 2015, prior to the situation, where I was just looking at all the people and was like, wow, they're all little babies. I just saw the baby, it was crazy. I saw the baby in everyone, and these are those little moments. So when it comes to the celibacy process, just the more that I fell in love with myself and everyone, the more I realized that it's not fair to myself or a woman for me to get involved until I'm in a position where spiritually, I just feel like I would be a help to her, she would be a help to me, and we can blend. And I just realized when I look at a lot of the decisions I made before, my love definition didn't have to do with those things. It really had to do with sex. It had to do with an instant gratification. It didn't have to do with a whole perspective. So I mean, I didn't plan on this becoming a 5-year journey and being the happiest I've ever been, but I just know that matter is not when I say matter, spirit and matter is not the decision maker in my process anymore. It's from a spiritual place. So when that does happen, yes, I'm gonna be attracted to her, but I will be more attracted to what she brings to me from an internal standpoint versus how she looks. And that does take time. And I was just joking the other day with a friend of mine, a female friend. I said, in the last 5 years, more females have called me. We started off on one level, but I've turned to the brother of so many women because they realize that in my position right now, I don't know if I attack things from the normal perspective of the hunt. You know what I mean? I'm in a really beautiful place. So I'm
so
still
you gave up the hunt, and
Yeah.
you're just waiting. You're just actually like aligning yourself with the manifestation of the woman, whoever that woman is, right? And so just give us a little bit about who you are and just what you do and what the books that you've written and who you are.
2013, after a 14-year career in the mixture of management and real estate sales, I ended up doing some things where from a award standpoint, I won these awards that they said I was the #1 sales executive in the world for 2013. And so I started getting hired to speak. And from April, from the month that I won that second award till October of 2013, I ended up loving to share that journey more than selling. So I retired October 13th, 2013, and released my first book, Universal Talk Laws, in January 2014, and have just been on a journey into the infinite unknown since. Ended up doing an online training program, Dixon On Demand, because I originally started doing these consultations with people, and honestly, the demand and the time was just not my definition of enjoyment for me personally. So I teamed up with Lightspeed and developed a virtual online curriculum so I wouldn't have to be on that one-on-one scenario. And then as I started traveling the world, and then I went to China and meditated with the monks, literally, that's when I believe my true enlightenment started, because I'm now going on, I guess, 5-6 years of meditation daily, every single day before I go to bed. And so I'm just in a creative mode, a children's book, Little Solar's Book of Superpowers, and Recreationism, My Life Manual, that just goes over some of the things that I've done within myself, but 21 of my most transformative clients as well. So, and just finished a little short film and turning I've written 8 books, but only released 3, and now working on my screenwriting process so I can turn some of these stories into visual creativity.
So you're up to a lot. You got a lot going on, which is awesome.
Yeah. So,
which is awesome. Thank you, Kinja. So Jude Bernard. So in the dating world, we had this conversation about being single, dating. And so like, how is it that because you're up to a lot too. You're a real estate mogul, you're a businessman, and you own the Brooklyn Bank. And there are a lot of women all around your world. And so how do you connect to a woman, you know, in this dating world and intimately without, you know, like choosing who you're going to be with intimately or who's surface, like, because you're somebody who's always around people and a lot of women at the same time. And then, you know, share with everybody who you are.
Hi, my name is Jude Bernard, real estate guy, landlord, real estate broker, general contractor, consultant. What else do I do? I run the Brooklyn Bank. I have a philanthropy wing where the focus of the Brooklyn Bank is financial empowerment and economic equality. We do a lot of different programs, everything from feeding people through the holidays, giving out gifts, providing informationals on how to build wealth and all that other stuff. Yesterday we had a great MLK event where, you know, we had a few hundred people on a Zoom. You know, can't let COVID stop us. So besides all of that, I build and develop brownstones. So I'm a busy dude, you know. So it's just like, how do I decide how am I going to spend my time? Well, but just like anything else, I will always focus on the things that bring me value. You know, whether it's a business proposition, a friendship, or a relationship with a woman. You know, the only things that's gonna get and keep my attention are things that make me better, or it aligns with the goals that I have, the personal goals that I have for myself, right? So yes, there are women around every day, all day, you know, and at the end of the day, I have to make the decision on, you know, am I going to give in to the short-term need, or am I just going to focus on the situations and the women and the people that make me better, that pushes me closer to the goals that I have for myself, you know? and
Got
and
it.
and that it is a reciprocal thing as well. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it's not
But
just
what I'm saying is like, Jude, there's a lot of women, you know, you have like, every time I like
yeah,
see you, there's like women. You
throwing me up,
and
you
it's
throwing
like,
me up. No,
I'm not saying you have a lot of women. I'm just saying
no,
like just around, you
yeah,
know, and so you have to have some kind of like, you
yeah.
know, way of being to know. And so, and let me tell you, ladies, people, participants on Wake Up, as much as men have agendas, women have agendas too. You know what I'm saying? Let's just keep it real. Like women will see the success and have an agenda. You guys have experienced that.
It's
Like, oh,
it's all about self.
happened. Look what he's driving. Oh, look at that suit. He looked like a couple of dollars, you know. He looked like that steak money right there. You know what I'm saying? Shrimp and steak, surf and turf, roof Chris. So you know what I'm saying? Women have agendas too. So we just, how do you, you know, and then there's the whole, you know, women are attractive, women are beautiful, and discerning whether you're going to spend your time with this beautiful woman or who she is. Who is she?
Well, it's all about, like, for me, it's all about self-control, right? It's no different than going into the buffet. Like, you could go into the buffet and try to I'm sorry about that. You could go into the buffet and try to go hard and have everything, you know, but like, you only need what you need. You can only consume what you can consume. You know what I'm saying?
And when did that transition happen? And that's actually like, because
Yeah,
you know, like,
yeah, I know you're trying to you're trying to be cool about it, but yeah, you know, I was out there wilding for a bit. um, well,
you know, I'm just, when is that like?
well, I'll, you know, just like Lerrod, you know, like I was blessed to make millions and millions of dollars very early in my life, right? And you know, I did not have the emotional maturity as well as the financial maturity to keep that, right? So when all of that stuff, when all of that stuff went left and I lost it all and stuff like that, I started to realize that what was really important, right? And like I started looking at the way I looked at money. I started looking at the way I looked at relationships, right? And two things I realized, like, and in my mid 30s was that no matter how hard I work, I'm never gonna get every dollar, right? And no matter how hard I try, I'm never gonna get every woman. You know what I'm saying? So it doesn't make sense for me to even, I don't want to die trying. You know what
But
I'm saying?
at one point in your, like,
Yeah,
I said for all the men,
clicks.
you know, at one point there was a part of your ego that said, you know, I can have it all, right?
Exactly, exactly.
Like I can have it
I'll take,
all.
I'll take this one and this one and this one and this one. And like, to no avail. It's like, what was I really getting? You know what I'm saying? Like, what was I getting out of it? So
But you were getting something. We all got something out of it, you
yeah,
know? Like we
yeah.
all got something out of it. It's just the quality of what you're getting out of it. You know,
But
there
what?
had to be a turning point where quantity and quality
That's
had to, you know, there
that's
had
the
to be, what
that's
is that?
that's the beauty of maturity, right? Because you know, like, there's a time, you know, your palate changes, you know, your appreciation of art changes, you know what I'm saying? What stimulates you change. You know what I'm saying?
Because
So
I like dark chocolate now.
yeah,
I was
exactly.
young, I liked
Exactly. You know what I'm saying?
milk chocolate.
Like, I used to be a fast food dude. Like, now I don't eat fast food anymore. It's like I look at it and it's like, that's not for me. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, it's time, it's maturity, and it's different from everybody, you know. Like, I know some 55-year-old F boys. You know what I'm saying? Like, it
We're
does.
going to get into that. Lerrod is going to get into that.
So, so it's just like, it's not necessary. I know some 55-year-old F boys, and I know some 25-year-old men who are very clear and very intentional in every move that they make. So it has nothing to do with age. It has to do with experience and when your time is ready. Like, I know you're gonna chop it up with Ted. Ted and I, we have these conversations all the time.
You don't turn that ring door.
We have these conversations all the time about personal growth. You know what I'm saying? Like if you're still doing the same things you were doing 20 years ago, 15 years ago, something's wrong.
Mm-hmm.
If things haven't changed for you, if the same things that get you off 20, you're still doing it, it's not cool.
Got it. Thank you, Jude.
No
And
problem.
so we have Mr. Ted Crawford, and please put your phone on mute. We have Mr. Ted Crawford. I have known Ted for over 20 years. I've actually known Jude longer, but I've known Ted for 20 years.
Ted
And
introduced us.
well, actually, we went to high school together in Martin, August Martin. But I've known, yes, but we got reintroduced. But I've known Ted for about over 20 years. And it's been just such an awesome growth of a relationship, and just like how we've grown emotionally, how we've grown just in our businesses, how we've just from party days to where we are now. And so can you go on mute? Thank you. And so it's just been an honor. So Ted, one of the things is that Ted's lady is also my business partner. And so you've been in a long-term relationship with Miss Maria Brito. And, like Ted has been known as just like the business guy, the single guy. And like, what has that been like these past few years, being in just like this, solid relationship with, and where are you going?
First and foremost, thank you for having me on, Meika. Congrats to all the kings on here with me today, and everybody checking us out on Facebook Live again. Great question, Meika. I guess basically, first and foremost, I want to thank you for actually bringing me into the self-development space a short time ago, maybe about 8-9 years ago. And for me, in a long-term relationship, and I'm gonna tell you, it's sad, but it's actually pretty cool. The relationship I'm in right now is probably the most solid and longest relationship I've ever been in my entire life. And I'm 53 years of age. So for me, I guess one of the more defining moments for me when it comes to relationships, it reminds me of the movie Boomerang, and David Allen Greer is talking to Eddie Murphy, and he talks about so you fall in love with a woman, then the moment you have sex with her, all the love you have for her just oozes out and is gone. He goes like, how can you do that? And I'm thinking like, this brother, David Allen Greer, don't get it. That's how it is. You know what I mean? You chase, you hunt, you chase, you hunt, and then you catch the prey. And then when it's over, it's over. Well, for me, it's like, you play the single thing for so long. And after a while, it's like, you know what? How many women and how many dates are you going to go on when you're with somebody when it becomes like meaningless? And I never thought I was the head of the peanut gallery as far as my crew of guys are concerned. And I would never, any guy say something, what I'm saying right now, I'd be like, what's wrong with this guy? What is he talking about? So for me to actually really start to ask myself questions like Ted, like, what are you doing this for? Are you trying to be the man because you want to that a boy? You want to be Ted Lover? You want to be this? You want to be that? And I had to really get to know myself. One of my major slogans I came up with is get to know yourself. You just might like you. I didn't know who I was. I was referencing the peanut gallery. I was trying to be the man, trying to be Mr. Promoter, worrying about what I wore, what people thought about me, how popular I was, but I never woke up fulfilled and happy in the morning in most cases. So I really dug into myself to figure out who I was and how many more relationships am I going to be in where it's actually being selfish. It's all about me, I. And then again, when you and I had a few conversations back in the mid 2000s, like 2008, 9, and I really had to, get into the self-development space and uncover the true Ted. And the true Ted is love. I'm pure love. I love people. I love connecting with them. So why am I out there trying to be the man, hurting women, misleading to them, lying to them? And then here I am, a grown man with a young daughter, 2 sisters, an amazing mother, but I'm constantly out there hurting women because I want to be the man.
And what was that turning point that said, was it the self-development that had you make that turn?
Yes, it was the self-development because and I gotta give love, to the coursework. Whether the folks out there, in social media land agree with this or not, but I took advantage of a course called Landmark Education, and Landmark Education actually had you look at the beginning of it all, of your true self. And I guess as a young kid, for me, I wasn't really that popular as a young kid. I was the baby of my family. So a lot of me wasn't really heard or seen. So that's why I came up with this alter ego, Ted Lover, to really be, hey, I'm here. Hey guys, what's up? Hey, I know a lot of people, I got this and that going on, but that wasn't really me. It's who I became. So then I really started to say to myself, it's like, and I love what Kinja Dixon that spoke about, in his journey. So for me, it was almost like, stop getting phone numbers when you go out. Stop trying to date everybody. Stop trying to bag, as we say on the scene, when you hanging. Just take care of myself. Let me sharpen up my knife, my skills with who I am, and then the right woman will come to me.
She sure did.
He sure did. Just came out of nowhere. And we went on one date and we never stopped dating. That was back in 2017. We went on one date and never stopped dating because it organically formed into an intimacy type scenario. It had nothing to do with sex. It was just intimacy, the connection, the conversation. She wake up in the morning. I wake up in the morning. I want to see her again. It was just a whole new flavor for me. And that's when I understood that this is a relationship for me. And I'm just so glad, although it took, to my time frame, it took a while, but I found someone that actually wake up in the morning to and really look over at and just like smile. As opposed
awesome.
to,
awesome. Thank you.
Looking over and being like, well, what you gonna do today? That was the other relationship.
Oh, or get out. Get out. Okay. What you got to do so you could go and leave my house. So, Lerrod, I wanted you to touch base on the, like I said, everybody here is of a certain age, but before we get into that, Lerrod, I wanted to see if we have anybody in the community who wants to ask these guys a question before I ask my next question. You just raise your hand and John will pick on you if you have a question for any one of these juicy gentlemen. Hands raised.
I am going to go to my executive producer, Nija. Nija, could you complete that request?
Sure. Meika, we have a hand raised. Teresa Scott has her hand raised.
Sure. Teresa,
and then if there's
unmute. Thank you. Ask your question. Be very specific because we got a lot to cover.
Hi, I just wanted to tell these gentlemen thank you for being some honest men, and it just makes me want to wait, and not be out there just being with any man, and so I'm just encouraged by that. That's just a statement that I wanted to say. Thank you, brothers. I really appreciate what you're saying.
Thank you, Teresa. We love you.
I love
Anybody
y'all
else?
too.
I see Shawnee has her hand raised. Nija?
Shawnee, can you come off of mute? Do you need
Yeah,
support?
I'm here. Good morning, brothers and Mama Meika. I love this. I love this. So yesterday, my topic when I presented was sex on the brain. And I'm so curious, brothers. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I'm not coming on camera. I just rolled over and was like, oh, let me jump on Wake Up. So I'm curious about the conditioning, I know it was mentioned earlier about just this quest, this going after women, being ravenous about conquest, and whether that's money also, or notoriety, because some people really want to be known, but they want to be infamous and not famous. So I'm curious about where the conditioning came from. And then the second part of the conversation, or whomever wants to jump in, is the implications on you spiritually when you're sleeping with and engaging with a bunch of partners. Because I know how that has impacted me in my life when I was operating like that. But I'm curious if y'all have an awareness of the impact on moving from person to person to person, and not necessarily having sex with all of them, but just that exchange mentally, maybe emotionally, because we can disengage from that, but just the wear and tear on the body, the mind, and the spirit when we're sticking and moving, or just being engaged with people and not necessarily having grounded exchanges. And I'm complete.
Jude has his hand up to answer that one.
Um, I could speak on that in regards to energy. You know, every contact that you make, you're exchanging energy with people. And the truth of the matter is, if you only have but so much energy to give, and and like the energy that you're receiving, um if it's not pure, if it's not focused, it's more detrimental than it is positive, right? Because since if you're sticking and moving, you aren't connecting. It's impossible to truly connect with multiple people on a physical level, or even a mental level, right? So you just end up you end up in situations where you're with people, but you're still alone.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? So after everything's said and done, like Ted said, you're waking up and saying, so what you doing today? Because it's like there's nothing there, so that's just my 2 cents on that.
Anybody else has the answer to that question?
Yeah, I'll make a comment on that as well. I think not as an excuse, but more of the reason for why, I guess for myself, I was able to just, be with woman after woman after woman again. And I spoke about it as I introduced myself just minutes ago, is feeling like in a zone. You're in a zone. So, and I wasn't meditating back in the days. I wasn't really looking internally. There was no connection between Ted and Ted. I was referencing my boys, the peanut gallery. You wake up, you be with a woman, and then she leaves, you get up, you take a shower, you get dressed, go to brunch with the fellas, you tell them about last night. And it's just that constant going of the zone, and everybody's talking about what they did last night and how it was and this, that, and the third. So you stay in that space for a while, but some people hit a brick wall and they wake up. For me, I just had a bunch of aha moments periodically. And I just said to myself, you know what? This doesn't do it for me anymore. It just wasn't working anymore, and that I wanted to roll over and look over and smile. And it's funny, it kind of just hit me. So as I got to know who I was, my true self, as opposed to who I was trying to be, then it became like, as Jude mentioned, the energy is phenomenal. You know what I'm saying? Because passion, energy, love, intimacy, once you understand your true self, that's authentic characteristics of a human being. But I didn't know that. I was so busy referencing the peanut gallery. So my shift happened late 30s, early 40s, and here I am.
So, Lerrod, I would like you to answer that question also, before I get into my question to you. But I want you to answer that question because that is a thing. Like, Jude said they're 55-year-old, F-boys, you know what I'm saying, that are still running around, on the prowl. Like, not even 50. I walk the streets and there's like this, sir, old man, like, hey, mama. I'm like, sir, mister. Who you talking to? Like, go buy some Bengay or something. You know what I'm saying? And they still out there on the prowl. Like, come on. Game is old. Like the 90s and the 2000s is dead. Like, come on, Biggie passed, Tupac's gone. The game is still, you know, like in the 2000s and 99s. So I want you to address that question about just the energy and what's happening with men in over 40, still, you know, exchanging that energy in that way.
All right. So first of all, man, I mean, it's a very simple question. However, the answer is like a waffle, bro. I said, bro, right? When me and you start talking, you know, we get, you know, we get the bro ham thing going. Right?
That's just the masculine energy in me that you vibe
energy start
into.
coming out when me and you get going. All right. So it's there's so many facets to it, like a waffle. I always tell that to my kids, right? So I'm gonna speak for me for a second, right? Is that winning was winning, right? When you have an alpha male or somebody who is a dominant personality from any perspective, they want to win. And in my life, I just always wanted to win. And there's so many men who program from the beginning to win, right? We talk race to win, to do this, to win. Everything is a win. And as you go through life, you find yourself in these different passages where you'll either find yourself, where you consider yourself winning or you're not winning. And what we have done is begin to equate and associate women and conquering women with winning. And I started for me back in high school where you bag this girl and then you win. You able to have sex with her, then you win, right? And then you're able to do something with it, then you win. And in front of your boys, you win. And what happens is we will do things in our life to constantly put ourselves in a space of, oh, we won. So when I found myself doing great in finances, I felt myself as winning. But when my money started going down, I felt like I was losing. So I just needed a win. So me going out to hang out, if I just bagged a girl, did something with a girl, then that was a win. And a win is a win. It didn't even matter how, you know what I'm saying? I didn't need the girl. I got a bad girl, whatever it is. It's just a win, right? And I think that men look at themselves afterwards, especially after that act of sex, right? Like, y'all, everybody's done it. I mean, from whether you jerking off, whatever the situation is, when it's done, it's done. I tell my son this too. You think you want to like a girl? Go jerk off, come back, tell me if you still like the girl. Because that's what it is. Like that hormone and all of that stuff in your mind, that's what clouds your mind. And once that feeling is gone, then you can think more clearly, right? And that's what happens to us. Like you wake up in the morning, you're like, I don't really know, right? It was just a win. And then somewhere around 11, 12 o'clock in the day, you need a win. It's like, well, I just need a win. And I think that our fathers, if our fathers had the foresight and the programming and the thought, right, into us to divest into us early, to teach us, you know, some of the things that give us other wins, intrinsic wins, right? Things that we could connect with our brothers. We could do other things that create wins for us. Then we will not be looking for it on the surface for this thing that society says makes us good or makes us dominant, right? Like you a man, you conquering women. So I say that as one, because there's a lot of men who would never say that. Like that's in the back of their mind. It's running like a little program, like an app that they keep hitting, that they open up every once in a while and they slide it back down, right? That's that app. For me, I would say this, there was a transition period in my life where I realized that connection, right? And just like the King Kinja talked about just a minute, connection becomes paramount, right? And there's no way, like two things can't occupy the same space at the same time, right? You cannot. So you cannot have true connection and you can have running around. And I believe that these men who have reached a certain point in their lives, like 40, 45, 50, you know what I'm saying, 60 years old, they're trying to, at this point, they're trying to have some connection, but they only know running around, right? They've never been taught, right, to actually develop a true connection. And until they make a sacrifice, a hard sacrifice of the running around, sacrifice all of those wins, they'll never have enough space to find what is connection.
Got that. Shawnee, does that answer all your questions? Just
it does, that conquest aspect of it, but I really lean more to I think that's part of it for some men, but just like myself, like there was something when I was operating from this promiscuity and allowing people to enter me literally and figuratively and do damage. And when I say do damage, it was just toxic relationships devoid of connection and human presence. That something was missing within me that I was trying to fill up through sex and connection. Part of it was low self-esteem. Part of it was not feeling loved and appreciated and cared for. And then also my trauma. And, you know, what I think that a lot of men don't do, especially men of color, shit, there's stuff that y'all deal with that's beyond just trying to fill up through conquest and getting money. Like, you know, just the way society views you. I just think it impacts how you show up and how you pursue, whether it's human beings or other things. But I just think that there's more to it than just trying to bag people for a conquest. I think that there's an emotional piece and spiritual piece that also is present. And if you're not present to it, you can believe it's these other one-dimensional things. So that's just where I'm at with it.
So one of the things that I'm gonna jump in, and one of the things that fuels all of it, right, is this need for human beings to be understood, right? Be loved. There are insecurities within women and men that actually have us act out in particular ways, all in search for the same connection that we either had or did not have with our parents, right? And so we come into this world, and I can say for myself, you know, my mom personally did not say, you know, I love you, right? She didn't say you're pretty. And I remember when I was small, and my mom we would go out and people would be like, oh my gosh, she's a pretty little girl. And my mom would say, don't tell her that. Do not tell her she's pretty, right? And then what started to happen to me is that I needed it, right? It was like I needed something that was to fulfill on something for myself, for my own self-esteem. So I started to see that had a direct impact on my relationships. And it was my son, it was my oldest son. I was saying to him that I was starting something, some new project or whatever. And I was like, yeah, you know, I gotta talk to my ex about it, right? And he was like, why do you need validation? Like, you are the bomb, period. And when he said the word, why do I need validation? It was like he took a knife right into my heart. We were just talking about it on my birthday the other day. And he didn't even know he impacted me that way, you know? And I was sharing with him and I said, you know, you called me out. I was like, and I wanted to run away. And I was like doing the whole West Indian thing, like, you're a child and you're supposed to stay in a child's place. But he called me straight out. And it was godsend because I needed validation. And I think all of our inappropriate behaviors come from this need. It comes from this emptiness or this insecurity. And so people are always saying, oh, I want to connect. I want a relationship. I want this. I want to be married, right? How? If you don't do that inner work. Because whatever you don't clean up in here is going to translate in your relationship anyway. It's going to show up in your relationship for you to do that work anyway, right? And if you don't, then you suffer. So one of the things I hear in all the men's shares and all the men's stories is that innate insecurity that was there. And then something about it was like, oh, I got to do some work to transform that in order to connect to myself, and then in order to really connect with a woman, right? And so intimacy is into me, you see. And that takes some vulnerability for somebody to actually, for you to allow somebody to see you, because we love looking fabulous. We love putting on the front and putting on, you know, that's why relationships are so juicy in the beginning, because who are we meeting? We're meeting the representative. So we're always putting on the front, but to allow somebody to really see that shadow part of you, to allow somebody to really see you, that takes something, that takes a level of emotional maturity, a level of vulnerability. And vulnerability is not weakness. It is the juice of life, right? It allows people to see you. The same thing you say that you want so bad is somebody to see me. I want somebody to get me, but you don't allow yourself to be vulnerable. And you got to tell the truth about that. Like you got to tell the truth about, I don't want this person to see this part of me. I don't want them to know this part of me, right? And then also know who you with, whether they even earn that right to see that part of you. So that's my 4 cents on that topic. And so, Kinja, I want to hear from you about, with celibacy, how do you connect to intimacy through your creative endeavors? And like, also, you're a man of a certain age, and like, we discussed this about family, right? And about how you allow yourself to be vulnerable, right? To even start connecting to a woman so that you can actually produce family.
1 second, please. Meika, before we
Yes.
go to that, it is 7:56. I believe one of our panel members may be leaving, and we also have to acknowledge the community. Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, he's gonna stay here. So yeah, so it is, for those of you who have to leave at 8 o'clock, I want to say thank you for listening to us. I want to say thank you for your presence, and we will see you tomorrow. But we are going to continue. We'll be here till 8:30, and with the gentlemen, with these 4 kings sharing our juice. And so thank you for those who have have come to the show and blessed us with your presence. And we are going to continue and move on. So Kinja, if you can get into that question.
One of the things that so many of these beautiful thoughts have been stemmed from this community, and I thank you for allowing me to share. One of the things that helped me understand why I wasn't missing anything during this journey, or when I interact with, like for instance, my 75-year-old client, I actually have a 40-minute interview with her on my YouTube page that went through 7 abusive relationships during her time. She came up in the Frank Lucas time, and she remembered that her definition of a relationship, the reason why she accepted the abuse is because when she was raised, her understanding of a relationship was, in order for the good to come, I had to go through the pain. So she was literally institutionalized to that process. And when she came up to the understanding that that's not necessarily how it had to go, that was one of the things that helped me dive deeper into why I made some of the choices that I made. And the reality is that when I lost my virginity, when I lost my virginity the second time, that's a whole nother interview if we get into that, and you understand why I'm saying that. I remember I cut school, she came in to my apartment, not my apartment, my mother's apartment where she was at work, and I remembered all these things that I saw from the Art of Making Love book. I know we all had that. We saw that book back in the day, and I tried to exhibit all of these things that I saw from pornos in this book to make her life the best in the world. My point is, when I look at how I was first exposed to the release of my juices, it was so reckless and had so little spiritual involvement. And so I believe how I was exposed to that feeling was led by animal sensation. And that is what led to the life of 14, 15 years of being led by animal with all these other layers of fluff. My point is that what I believe we all have in common, and why I'm so happy about this process of taking that energy and putting it into the other pillars, is I realized that my entire life, when it came to love, sex, was driven from the animal side of my nature versus the spiritual side of my nature. And the reason why I'm so happy about all the women on this call is, from a biological standpoint, there's only 4,000 nerve endings in the man's area, when it's 20,000 nerve endings in the woman's area. So what happens with us, and I believe the woman is the leader of our world, even though so many things lead us to think differently, is when we get exposed to those sensations at a young age, and it gives us feelings of like an out-of-body experience, If we don't figure out how to tame that, we start making choices that are driven by the nerve endings versus our spiritual and emotional mastery. That's why so many of us do things that don't make no daggone sense because we're not using our spiritual and emotional development. We're being driven by something that is like next level. And what I realized through working on my books and my pillars is, I swear there are times when I'm in the gym, there are times when I'm writing. This is to answer your question because I'm done, Meika, after this. I have felt feelings that are similar to my releases when I'm making up a new character in a movie, when I'm pushing my body to another level by endurance sports, when I'm meditating into a space that I've never created. And that's why I'm so in love with this life, because I'm experiencing a similar feeling to what I felt when I released off of some old non-spiritual animal nature type act.
That's beautiful, Kinja. I see the chat is blowing up just by you sharing. And so, you know, like, in order to even get to that point, someone would have to allow themselves time and space to even get to that point, to experience that. You know, sometimes we don't even give our bodies, you know, that time and space to even tap into those creative endeavors. Sometimes we don't give our bodies because we think we're always trying to fulfill on something. We're always trying to get full. Like, I'm empty. I got to get full. And that's not just from the men, you know, trying to bag the lady. As women, I can even say, like, feeling lonely will have you make some crazy decisions with somebody that you would never, that's not even in your standard barrel. Like, you would never be like, yo, you got names in the phones next to him. Like, oh no. Like, oh no. You know what I'm saying? And that's true. That's true talk, because you're just trying to fill on something because you don't want to deal with something. And to give yourself, your body and your mind and your spirit enough space so you can make actual choices for your life. That's important. And so, you know, I'm a coach, so I'm always on the phone with people, and one of the things that people are always sharing is that I'm lonely, right? And first of all, when you really connect to yourself and you connect to the divine, there is no loneliness. You are alone. You may be alone, right? But loneliness is a whole different conversation. And so when you give yourself sometimes that time and space, you allow yourself to forgive some of the things from the past. They are no longer you, right? You allow yourself to connect to who you really are, to connect to existence. You see this plant here? This plant loves me. I love this plant and it loves me back. And I connect to it. You see Namaste here? This is my Namaste. We connect. So it's about, you know, I love what you said. Just you being celibate allowed you that time and space to release some of that animal instinct. And in Buddhism, they call it the world of animality. Right? Because you are human beings, we actually have the option to choose and to ration things out. And so when you're just acting on instinct, you're in the world of animality. And sometimes people are in that world for a lifetime. So thank you, Kinja, for that beautiful share. And so I want to get into, what is sex like after 40? Like, is it the same? Is it is
All right, I'm gonna leave the call down. I'm done. You know, I ain't gonna I don't remember that joint. Like 36. Damn, I'm done.
Like, is it the same? Is it better? Somebody said, is it better? You know what I'm saying? Because things change. I was on the phone with a friend of mine, and he was just giving it to me straight. And he was like, I tried the young girl. He was like, yo, that did not work. He was like, it just didn't work for me. He was like, I thought she was going to kill me. He's like, I did all these things. And so again, here we are trying to fill up space, right? Because we don't want to be with ourselves. So I just want to know, what is sex like now after 40? We're all over 40. So what is that like now? Who read? Y'all gotta, which one of y'all want to answer that question?
I'll take the ball. I'll take the ball.
I'm throwing it.
And so, and again, I'm gonna always say, this is for me, preface the shit, right? Everybody got their own, whatever, right? For me. So, can I say it's better? I can't. I could say it's different. Right? That's what I would say, right?
That's
I
an
would
interesting word.
That, like, right? Because remember, my wife might one day look at this again, right? Let me be a smart guy, you understand?
Jacqueline said it's hot. She said sex after 40 is hot.
I think that what has happened is my intention for it, right, has different and created a different experience. Like when I was younger, I think we had more, it was more vigorous sex and more, you know what I'm saying, more different things we trying to do because we're still in that exploring stage, right? Like you got that, you got this, you got that. You know, as you're going through, and I would say like your passages in life, Dr. Fraser talks about this all the time, how we go through passages in our life every 10 years, right? From your 1 to 10 and 10 to 20 and 20 to 30 and going forward. In my passages in life, I think about sex like why I was going after it and then what I got out of it. And as the previous passages have shown me, right, I was just exploring. Now I'm trying to say something. I'm in a passage in my life in 40 that when I have sex with my wife, I'm trying to say something. Like I'm trying to either say sorry, right? For some shit, right? or I'm trying to say, please, I want to go do something else that you don't want me to go do. You know what I'm saying? Or I want to buy something. You know what I'm saying? So I'm trying to say something and she's answering me. So I think that sex in this passage for me is about saying something and getting feedback from her. And that's what's in this passage. I don't know what's in my 50s passage, but in my 40, I'm 44 now. I'm experiencing that. I'm definitely, I'm loving it. We in a transition period right now too, because I'm thinking I am scheduled to go to get the snip, right? So we're getting straight, right?
Wow.
Straight, right? So I'm
no more children, huh?
No more. Like I'm closing the shop, and I'm gonna tell you, especially for men that had this feeling like I did, like because I was like, yo, I'm not gonna do that because I feel like I'll be the 1% where they'll go touch it and it's something to happen and my machine to stop working, right? and I'm very sensitive about the possibility. Even if I'm not having sex, I need to know that sucker could work. So we're gonna make that transition. So, you know, even when me and her had the conversation about me going to do that, right? That was a maturity that I didn't have before. I didn't have the access to being able to talk to her about why I didn't want to do it or whatever else. You know, like you go do it, you get the pill, you get the little thing to go to IUD, you get the. But now in this passage, I'm more like me take responsibility so that we could enjoy sex at a certain level as we move forward. I hope that provides.
Wow, thank you for that vulnerability. Thank you for that, Lerrod. Jude, go ahead. You got to unmute.
So I don't know. I could say better, but I could also say different.
Different is a popular word today.
Because on a real, like in my 40s and where I'm at right now, my mental game is strong. You know, I like my ability to read a woman and see what she, you know, what she wants and do that and don't do this and the walking in the room and you know, the IFing and all that other stuff. I got that on lock. Now on the physical side, you know,
talk about it. Tell the truth.
I might need a nap here and there. So, um, like I could change your life one time. You know, so keeping it 100.
Yes, that's what we want.
So my recovery time and like my ability to like real talk, I cannot satisfy multiple women. It's like I don't have it in me, you know, like whether it's a combination of my working out, my days. On top of that, there's a recovery period that needs to happen.
I got it. Mm-hmm.
That did not happen. That did not happen in in my 20s. That started happening in my 30s, and there's there's physical limitations, and I think God is like a little off, because it's crazy that a man is at his physical sexual peak at 18, 19 years old, whereas a woman hits that peak in her 40s. Like that's a bad joke right there.
I get that. One of the things that me and my friend, we were discussing was that, without intimacy after 40, right? Like that 7 minutes can feel like, or that 10 minutes, I'm not placing a number on nobody, guys, 7, 10, 15 minutes, right? That could feel like 2, right? When you just smashing without intimacy. And with intimacy, that 7 to 10 to 15 minutes could feel like a lifetime when you have intimacy, right? Because you're connecting on different levels versus just the actual act. What Stacy said, go with the 15. Right. So we're going to say 15, right? And even if it was 7, like, I was having a conversation with my girlfriend and I was like, she was like, well, something's wrong with him if it's 7. And I was like, physically, things change. Say you're with somebody in their 60s and 7 is what they got. You know what I'm saying? That's what they got, right? It could be 7 minutes of extraordinary connection, right? But you're going to deny it because that's what he got. You know what I'm saying? I was like, look, my edges are not the same from when I was a young girl. You know what I'm saying? What if he was like, I ain't rocking with you because your edges ain't popping? You know what I'm saying? So it's like, we have to be real at a certain point in our lives, at a certain age, that's where that, emotional maturity comes in, and where sex is involved. And, when we were younger, we were really trying to impress each other in that sex game. And it's important to, please your partner, but there's so many different levels to actually pleasing and connecting to another human being, your human being that you're partnering with, right? Than just impressing upon, like, we're all over 40. And when somebody, let's not say, because you guys are all businessmen and you guys are all athletic, you all work out, y'all basically all wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning, you know what I'm saying? And so at some point in your life, you ever know, like, because you're doing the work, that you need to do for yourself. And when you come and somebody is trying to front like they doing the work, don't you notice it? Right? So if you come to the bedroom fronting like you ain't even backing that game up because you ain't doing the work, even like the fact that you guys are physical, athletic, at a certain point, there are some men and women, and me and Lerrod, we had this conversation about you not being a request for sex. You've given up on that part of your life. Lerrod, can you speak on that?
Where's the unmute button? Am I in? Is this thing on? Right?
Yes, we on.
so deep, and I want to say this, and I want all of the women, right, for a moment, right, to, you know, to take this in, right, for a moment, and I want you to receive this beautifully. And no offense, if you could remove any of that at all, right, so you can receive this, right. I have witnessed through looking through the eyes of a child, only to a man, watching family members, watching people that are close to me, women that I respect, and I've seen them go through passages in their own life about relationships and sex, and I've seen them give up, right? I've seen them say to themselves, you know what? You know, if I don't have this relationship, or if I don't have someone in my life, I'm going to replace it with someone. And many of them replace it with food. They replace it with religion, right? They replace it with activities or social things. They learn to ego, right? Right. How intellectually they start reading books and pontificating, and you know what I'm saying, and doing different things on social media and distract themselves. They end up distracting themselves from the natural desire so much to the point, right? They let themselves go physically in all kinds of areas to the point that they no longer believe that sex is even possible for them. They don't even believe that a man is going to come into their life that they're going to actually have sex for. So they just give up. They stop treating their bodies in a certain way to draw men into themselves, to attract. They stop taking care of themselves, even
But this is
dressing
not only women, because I see a lot of men who have given up.
Yes. Only reason I pointed women is because I'm looking through the pictures and I'm seeing a majority of women. That's the only reason I said it. And
But
you know,
I want you to talk about the duel, because I know a lot of men who have given up, you know, in that aspect as well.
okay.
So
from the men's perspective, because I'm normally speaking to men, right? Black Warrior King. This is a men's tribe, and I speak to men straight, and I treat them rough, right? Faith, family, fitness, finance, future, in that order. That is how we operate, right? There's 5 areas in the foundation, and the third being fitness. If you do not take care of it, it will not take care of you in all particular areas. And sexuality starts with your ability to act on the world. And if you are not physically fit, if you are not physically taking care of yourself through the food that you put in your body, the fuel, and the exercise you put, you're not even preparing yourself to interact and to express yourself. And if I watch men and how they do in terms of feeding themselves and the fuel they put in and the type of exercise and things they're doing, you could tell how you treat yourself, how you're going to treat a woman. So I ask men all the time when they come to my events, when they come to Rise of the Black Warrior, other men, Ted has been there. I ask men, take your shirt off. One of the things that we do, one of the things in the crucible, take your shirt off and look at the man next to you. And you look at yourself and say, is this what you want for you? Is this what she wants, right? Are you treating yourself to attract into somebody like that? Because your expression of who you are is coming up on the outside and how you treat yourself. And if you can't treat yourself in a certain way, why should I treat you this particular way? If you can't control what goes into your mouth, how you gonna control a relationship and a connection with me? So I say that for both men and women, I think that the draw on sexuality, right, is going to start with your willingness to make the sacrifices to even uh, solve something for somebody else. And I'm gonna say this. This is my last thing. As an entrepreneur, that's what, right? An entrepreneur is about solving a problem. Someone has a problem, and I solve it for you, and you pay me for it. Sex in a relationship is some type of exchange at some point. So you are solving something. That means that I'm giving you a connection. I'm solving a problem. I'm healing a hurt for you, or whatever it is. If you cannot solve that thing for someone else, there is really no purpose for them to want to have sex with you. And I know that's rough. But in my relationship and in my wife, every time that I connect at this stage of my life, I'm looking to solve something for my wife in a conversation.
Isn't that men, like, I know men, I've had this conversation with, and I went to, you know, tons of relationship workshops run by men, right? And they say men, you know, are fixers. They always want to fix. So is it coming from that aspect, the solving?
No, and I'm glad you said that, because it's not. And maybe I wasn't clear. I wasn't verbose enough, right, for that. So fuck it. Let me go back. When I'm at this point, right, in my life, because there was a different point, and if you're dealing with an older man that still has an immature mindset, right, because just age is no depiction on wisdom, right?
Right.
So if you're dealing with a man who has an immature mind, he might just be trying to solve something for himself. Like, I just need to solve this. But once I'm now willing to solve it for you, what do I want to provide to you? I want to provide you a space that you feel comfortable holding, that you want to hug, that you want to touch. I want to provide you the energy and the vigor so that I could provide a connection and maintain it for a certain period of time. So I'm not just solving something where you have a problem. I'm solving something where there's a desire that you have that I can provide for you, right? You have something that you want inside and I offer it to you. And then because I'm offering it to you, you want to be with me. And I tell you this, when I stopped thinking about myself, when I stopped thinking about what I was going to get from it, sex changed for me. And a tool as opposed to when I was younger, when it was a weapon.
So sex was a weapon.
Oh, it was a weapon. I was out there, I was wielding my weapon.
Mm-hmm.
I was out there killing shit. I was laying things
And women
down.
use it as a weapon as well. So,
Yeah.
you know, with the denial and the, you know, like removing it out of the relationship, or, you know, they weaponize sex as well. So I don't want it to just be, you know, because there's a lot of women on the show, just how men use sex as a weapon, but women can weaponize sex in a multitude of ways. So I just wanted to go back out into the community and see who has questions for Kinja or Lerrod. Please raise your hand, Nija, in the community. I'm sure if you could just like share with these fellas, share with these kings, what's been going on in the chat. I want to touch base with the community because you guys are the show, the community. Hello?
Hey, Meika. Hey, Kings. There is a lot in the chat, a lot of confirmation and just commentary after the information that you have shared. Let me see if I can find a question.
I know Purple definitely had a question for Lerrod. I did see that.
Yes, and that was a while ago. That spoke to a comment that you made in your introduction about loving your wife, but jumping out of the window to get away from her. And Purple, if you're still with us, maybe you can come in and share your question. I'm scrolling through, but I don't see it.
Purple, if you can unmute.
Okay, can y'all hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Thank you, brothers, for being on here. So everybody, thank you, grown folk. This is perfect. My question, and I kind of just reframed it, and my last question is, how do y'all restore when there's a breakdown? Lerrod, you know, you gave the perfect visual, the extreme, the polarity of being in a loving, responsible relationship looks like both ways. And so I for myself, for community, the restoring, the repairing, the forgiveness work, what does that look like, and what's your journey been like with that? And that's for everyone, but Lerrod, you said it.
Wow, that was a good one. And definitely I want to say that it took a lot, right? It took so much sacrifice in order to get to this work. And I had to be very transparent and honest that if I was going to get through it, I had to start putting it on me, right? And I say this to everybody. When you are the problem, you are also the solution. When someone else is the problem, you have to wait for them to change or them to do something for them to be the solution. So I made it all about me. When I wanted to make the transition for me and my wife to being back in connection, my wife wielded sex like a weapon. Like, I tell you that. She held sex back from me for months, and she wouldn't even look. She wouldn't even, I think she was just like moved around the house with a house coat on. She was moving around the house with a damn trench coat, right?
Armor on. Boom, 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 boom.
Armor, like straight up. Like, I can't say that we had sex for months, and she wouldn't even look like she was thinking about it, right? I had to get to a point where I was just willing to do all these different things to sacrifice. I'll give you one, and this is an example for some men that may be on. I did this for a while. I would get down on one knee and I would talk to her whenever we had tough conflict. I remember me and Meika were talking about this. And my kids would laugh at me. My mother-in-law was laughing at me. Everybody would laugh at me when I would do it. Like, I would literally hold my still frame because I'm king, like I'm a bold dude. But what I would do is I would make a physical representation of me not attacking her, right? And I would lower myself onto one knee and I would still maintain a conversation. And I did it for months. So men, if I say this to you and women, shit don't change overnight. A ball got raveled up. It took a long time to ravel that shit up. It's gonna take a long time to unravel it. So I had to do it for so long. It got to a point that sometimes we were about to get into an argument. She would put her hand out and put her hand over my shoulder and push me down. Like she would be like, and if you know my wife, y'all would know she would do that shit. Get down, right? You about to start arguing now, right? My kids used to laugh, and then they got into a space of expectance. And they started to see, they would pass me right by, I'd be on one knee talking to her in the hallway somewhere. And they would just walk right by. Because I was going through a place where I had to make a physical shift so she could see it so that we could restore. And after that time period, and after that sacrifice, and she saw it, she could see that now I was ready. I was ready now. And I showed her now that I was worthy now for us to start to repair that and get into a space. And then when I did, and I cleansed myself, it was just available. And now we just have an entirely different experience. We still go through our bullshit, right? But the truth is, we now use different things to restore ourselves in that space. I hope I answered that for you, Purple.
You did. Much respect. Thank you. That's on some King Ramesses right there. That's a game changer for our whole community. Thank you. Thank you.
That's beautiful. Anybody else? Thank you, Purple. Anybody else have a question? Raise your hand, Nigel. You could pick somebody.
I did not see any questions in the chat. So let me go to gallery view and I will select someone because I don't see hands raised either.
Anybody have questions for these kings? Because we are almost done.
Let's pick someone whose voice we have not heard today in this space. So Griselle LaSalle, I hope I'm saying your name correctly.
Griselle, it's Griselle.
Hi, good morning, it's Griselle. I actually do have a question. I know we are all over 40, but my question is, does it take being over 40 to get to this point? I mean, do we as women have to wait this long? I mean, I've waited this long, but is it something that could have happened in your 20s, could have happened in your 30s? Is there something we can do for the younger men, for our sons, for our brothers, to help them be able to get to this point and not have to be in your 40s?
That's a beautiful question. Thank you, Griselle. Kinja, would you address that?
Yeah, first I like to say time is what I think is one of the things that damaged me in my journey, is because I factored time into so many of my decisions. Once I got over 30, oh my goodness, it's time for me to have somebody with me every time I go on these trips. And I think that biological clock is one of the things that really hurt me. But of course, we turn all of our hurt into a positive thing if we look at it the right way. But I believe working on thyself, what I loved about what Lerrod mentioned, And what I love about some of the people that I know in solid relationships that weren't always solid is they started working on themselves, and the better they were happy and healthy within, the better they were understanding the whole and able to serve at a higher level. So what I think really just helps us all is if instead of us trying to change anyone else or any other conditions, the better we can work on ourselves starting from a young age, the more we will not look at single as a negative. It's unfortunate, but single versus being in a relationship because of our humanity's vibration is almost looked at negative. And it's because of most people that are single don't understand that they are only single physically, but they could be connected spiritually. And so that's where these little kids, and where I know where did I get the fact that I needed someone when I went on these trips? It's because I compared myself to so many relationships that from a physical level look complete, but what happens behind closed doors a lot of times are not the reflection of what we're chasing. So we end up chasing our whole lives to get something from a physical level when some of these people are just looking a certain way because they ran the biological clock. So simple, working on thyself. And the 4 pillars, I think, that create all of us, if we were plants and we were emerging: emotional intelligence, hunger to gain new knowledge, getting better at whatever we do for a living, and our purpose. I believe those are the 4 things that if we can just work on those things, the universe will bring us everything we need, man. And if I never meet anyone in my life, if I work on those things, I still live a complete life and help many people. And I don't think that if we meet someone or don't, I think that's just a mind construct. Being with someone or not is not a definition of your value to the world. Like, for real. Like, I personally believe that. And if that's a root thought, there are so many people, I know we peeped them, where they're bitter and lonely because I ain't never meet the one I was supposed to. No, I don't think that's the way it's supposed to be. You could be happy and vibrant and serve without nobody, or you could end up meeting that person and unite together. But it's either or. It shouldn't be a team up with somebody I really don't really like, but I'm just gonna make it look like
there's a ton of people, Kinja, that are with people because they just don't want to be alone.
Exactly.
They're not happy, and children are growing up. You know, I was on a conversation with one of my family members, and I was like, you know, children are growing up. Even though you guys don't argue, they still feel the energy of your nonsense, right? They still feel that, and they can't process what that funky energy is. So what do? They reflect it on themselves, and they say, oh, it's me. It must be something about me that has this relationship be so messed up. I was like, your children, because y'all are pretending, right? You're raising your children to be quiet and pretend and to suffer silently. You know, and so a lot of people are in relationships, and I'm not telling y'all to go and leave your man and leave your woman or leave your relationship. Don't put that on Miss Meika. But what I am saying is to check within, to check to see whether this is the standard of life that you actually want to live. This is your life. We are breathing. We just went through a pandemic. We just went through we're going through a pandemic. We're going through COVID. Life is short, as we have seen, right? And so we want to be very conscious. This is divine to actually take the time out to even look within, to take the time out to see whether, wait, am I really lonely? Do I really want to be with this person? Do I actually want to be with this person through their process? Because everybody is in a process. Louise Hayes says, we're all victims of victims. We're all victims of victims. So people are in their process, but sometimes some people's process doesn't mean that I have to actually be there for that process. I have enough compassion to know that you're going through a process, but it doesn't mean that I actually have to be there in that process. So, you know, it's all about choices. We are at 8:33. This has been such a delicious conversation. I am so grateful. And we could talk about this, like, we got 61 people on here. We could talk about this like another time. We could talk about it all day because it's a conversation actually for us. We need to share. we need to talk about. We need to tell the truth about what's going on with you. And if we're not telling the truth about it, then we're hiding and we're pretending and we're not loving ourselves. Therefore, we're not sharing that love with another. And I am so about building community, especially Black community, us falling in love with ourselves again and falling in love with each other, you know, and it's not really about Black and white. It's, for me, it's about recreating community, because we've lost something along the way. And so I just want to say thank you, Kinja. Thank you, Lerrod. Thank you, Ted and Jude Bernard. Ted and Jude, they had to go on business. So I apologize for their boxes and not being able to interact with you guys more. But we just had a juicy, juicy session. And so I want to get into Kinja. If people wanted to buy your book or get in touch with you, could you share how they can contact you?
Dixon at kinjadixon.com if you wanted to personally touch base with me for recreationism, RE-CREATION. It's in the chat, ISOM, or just Google me, Kinja Dixon, and now everything's accessible. But Dixon at kinjadixon.com if you wanted to message me about anything. And I really,
We have I'm sorry to cut you off, but we do have a brother who raised his hand. And I want to give him that space to answer a question, because it's been all about the queens today asking questions. So I do want to allow Adam to ask his question. Shawnee, are we good to extend this a little longer?
Listen, Nigel is in charge this morning and the other crew. So I acquiesce. Nigel, answer Meika's question.
Yes, thank you. Adam, if you can unmute.
Yeah, I can unmute. Good morning, everybody. The one question that I want to ask you guys is, where do you see yourself in 5 to 10 years?
Okay, you want me to jump in on that?
Go ahead.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's a broad stroke question, but I want to try to channel it for the value of this conversation, right? I see, and I shared this earlier in the days in terms of passages, right? I'm going through this 40s passage, and in 5 years, I should cross into the 50s passage. And I see myself being forward of this passage, right? And not to say I want to be different or anything else. I just want to be forward. And really what that means is I want to take everything that I have learned up to this particular point and use it in my next passage. So I don't want to try to predict and say, hey, listen, well, I'll be owning this or I'll be owning that, because those material things is what I think I used in my earlier passage to try to create those things that ended up giving me failure opportunities, like Kinja talked about in terms of time. You set something here, you don't hit it, now I got a failure. And I said that, now I had a failure. But if I don't see my life like that, and I see my life as I'm moving forward, will I be better than yesterday? Yes. So 5 years, I will be 5 times forward from where I am right now, rooted in this present space right now. I can appreciate who I am right now. And in 5 years, I will be 5 years forward. That gives me love. I think that gives me power. And it's a space that I can create from. And then when I share it to other people, they can receive something in that. Clear?
Beautiful. Kinja?
Exactly. And that's what changed everything, is once I couldn't have told y'all I would be on a call with these beautiful souls, you know what I mean, 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago. So it's working on my pillars. As long as I work on those, whatever 5, 10 years happens. But
Kinja, I know that they asked you to write the pillars in the chat. If you could just write the pillars when you're done.
Yep, I just did. I did because I just did. So I sent it. But Brother Adam, the 2 immediate things is turning my children's book into a screenplay. So my goal is to get that out there. And I just submitted my short film into about 16 film festivals. So I would imagine that my future includes using some of this growth and expressing it in visual media for the world. But as far as the pillars, just better than I was, and getting more in tune with this universal connection, and not allowing our world situation to negatively impact the growth, because I've suffered through having compassion for so many people that I love, that because of them allowing news and media to kind of invade their energy, I see people disintegrating, man. And that's one thing I, as a compassionate person that loves everyone, you have to be aware that you can't allow that average vibration to start dictating how you feel. So that's something I think we all need to work on, is work on ourselves and be compassionate, but don't turn that compassion into suicide.
Powerful. I see that we have one more question. Michelle, if you can unmute.
Hello, good morning, everyone. This is my first time here. Ted,
Welcome,
invited me.
Michelle.
I've enjoyed listening to you guys, but I had a question. Do you guys believe that people grow on their own, or they come to a place of like a spirituality, or they start believing in a belief system, something more powerful than their own being in order to grow? Because I mean, where I am in my life, I feel like before I became a Christian, something was knocking in my heart, like, man, I'm missing something. I know I lacked a daddy, so I know there's some things that are incorrect with me, which I was in my 20s at that point. And then after having my daughter was when I realized, okay, I need to do something different for her. And there was a knock in my heart, an emptiness where it didn't get fulfilled until I came to the Lord. But for young men and even women, does this happen on their own, or it has to come to a place where, like one of the guys said before, you have to hit rock bottom in order to say, man, I need something more powerful in my life in order to really find that purpose, that real me, not the insecure person, not the one that lacked a dad, a mom, the physical touch, all those things, molestation, all those things that have traumatized us. Does it happen alone, or they need to get that divine like touch from somewhere,
Thank you, Michelle. Go ahead, Kinja.
I do believe that is a crucial element to improving one's journey. I just also believe that it has many names. I call it the all that is energy. And I do believe that based on where we are in the world, that direction will be led based off of whether you're in the East, whether you're in the West. And one thing I truly try not to do is separate how someone can get there by placing a name on something so vast, you know what I mean? But yes, I do believe connecting and mastering ourselves, since we're all made of the same stuff, just different reference points. I believe that's essential into realizing that there's more in this world than what I believe, and what I believe can always grow. So that equates to infinite potential. You know what I mean? So yes, I believe it. I definitely believe it.
Thank you, Kinja. And so Michelle, wake up wake up.
Meika, before you leave that, I'd love to say something.
Sure, let me let the Rod say something.
Because I don't want to leave it I want to say something around it, is that many of us, we wait until we hit rock bottom in order to make a change. It's something I tell the men all the time, that men won't make a change until the pain of things staying the same becomes greater than the pain to make the change, right? I'm gonna say that one more time, because a lot of times, even when I say it to men and try, they don't get it right away. People won't make a change until the pain of things staying the same becomes greater than the pain to make the change. Like, we all want something else. We always want this thing, but we will settle like a dog sitting on a nail and won't move until it hurts too bad. And what I try to say to you and to people who wanting this thing is to try to find that before the pain finds you. So before you hit rock bottom, before that thing, sit in yourself and imagine what it would be with losing it all first. And then make a conscious decision. And there's a difference between a choice and a decision, because many people will make a choice to change and then they won't continue to do it. But a decision comes from decide. It means to cut. I cut off all other roads. I cut off everything else but the thing that I want. And if you want family, connection, love, all those things that you say you want, you have to cut off all of the shit that don't serve you before something come to hurt you even more. And if you have to fill it in your space with God, fill in your space with God. If you have to fill in your space with fitness, fill in your space with fitness, but fill it the space with things that serve you. And I think that will offer you something.
But do we at some point in our life, until someone doesn't introduce us to something different, we'll always think that our norm is okay. You know, like when
You're on mute. So Michelle, we're
Yes.
on a short time stamp. So I just want to address your question really quickly. So every human being, even children, if you watch children, right, we're all here to learn. You've been learning since you came out the womb. You learned how to walk, you learned how to talk, you learned how to eat. It's about learning, right? Energetically, you ever see like even a dog, when a dog does something that it knows it's not supposed to do? I used to raise pit bulls, right? And my pit bull, she used to bite at the door. And when I would come inside, she immediately, as soon as she saw me, before I even knew she did anything, she would put her head down or she would turn her head away. How do you know that? How does a pit bull know that I'm coming inside and that she did something that was inappropriate behavior, right? And so every human being has to start to hear that voice, or hear that, or pay attention to the thing that's leading them in the opposite direction. You know, so like what Lerrod is saying, it's like you've done that thing 1,000 times. Even a kid, if you keep putting your hand at the socket, there's going to be a consequence, whether that consequence is your parent or whether that consequence is you getting shocked, right? What we do is we defy the thing that we know that doesn't work. We know, okay, this is something for me to do, and I'm going to defy doing it. And we've practiced defiance. We have practiced it, and then we complain about it like we don't have no responsibility in it. We complain about our life so freely, like we had no responsibility in it. And so the work, I want to welcome you here, because Michelle, Wake Up is Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. This is just one episode. There are tons of facilitators that come on here to facilitate, to actually bring people out of their blindness, to whether it's on health, whether it's on yoga, whether it's a session like this on sex and love, whether it's trauma. You know, there's so many different facilitators. So I would encourage you to actually share it with people. Go onto Facebook, look at what Wake Up is, what Shawnee B. Gibson created. And there's so many episodes, even beyond this one, right? Of just different facilitators coming on and sharing their juice to wake people up, because that's why I have a coach. I have 3 coaches, because there are things that I can't see about myself, you know, and I'm committed to my growth. There was a time that I wasn't. So thank you, Michelle. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for asking your questions. Everyone, thank you for joining us. This has been such a powerful session. I pray that you wrote notes. You could get in front. Kinja left his information. Lerrod, can you just briefly share how people can contact you on Facebook, Instagram?
Okay, so I'm super simple. If you can spell my name, Lerrod, that's where I'm at on everything. On Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, anything else, you can find me at Lerrod, Lerrod. For women, in a space right now that have men in their environment, right? Men in their environment that they would like to share in a conversation with me, you definitely welcome to send them to riseoftheblackwarrior.com and my new project that I'm working on called Get My Shit Together. So I went out and purchased this domain because it was just as simple as what I'm working on, getmyshittogether.com. If you send them that, they will go through a process with me, and I will share some information. Even you ladies, if you would like to receive some information and see what it is that I'm working with people on, you can also go in there and fill out the application there, and I'll start updating you on ideas, thoughts, and stuff that I'm working on, especially the new book that's coming out called Get My Shit Together.
Awesome, beautiful. And so if you are interested in getting in touch with Jude Bernard, you can go to Facebook. This is Ted Crawford's information. Thank you, John Call. This is, you could Ted Crawford at Ted Crawford for Instagram, and his email is there. Screenshot it. We can move on to the next screen for Jude Bernard if you have that. This is Jude Bernard's information. You can screenshot it. He owns the Brooklyn Bank. You can also go to Instagram and put in the Brooklyn Bank to see what he does with his philanthropy work as well. And it's also an event space. That's where I had my beautiful birthday dinner rather, goddess dinner. We can move on. And so I have a workshop coming up on February 4th called The Art of Forgiveness, because if we want to clean out that space for this new life, for this new love, this new relationship, we got some work to do. And that is forgiveness, forgiving yourself, forgiving others, freeing up your heart so that your heart chakra is open and that you can receive that love. But we got to clean up some stuff first. It's a 4-week course. It's a 5-week course, but there are 3 winners will receive the Art of Forgiveness. And so if we could just pick the numbers, I'm going to pick 55, I'm going to pick 7, and I'm going to pick 16. Yes, and if you can count those numbers, and people can accept that offer. And we are also here tomorrow.
Meika, 1 second. We have 51 people in this space, so bring a number back down from 55.
Okay, so let's do 44. Perfect. And so I am looking forward to starting this course. And if we could put up the slide for who's coming up next, and you can, as you pick out the numbers. Yes, and love offerings. You know, I donate all my love offerings to the admin team, but money is energy. You guys know what to do. If you have, and for those who are new, we love offerings. You can offer $1, whatever it is. You can send it to soulleadershipdevelopment@gmail.com, cash at Spirit of a Woman. And the code for today for me is 243MJ for Meika Joseph. And so you can send your love offerings, and that I donate my love offerings to the admin team. Because they do such a wonderful job with developing this show and being side by side with the facilitators, making this happen. And who's next? Join us on Wednesday, January 20th for Sex Positivity, because you know I ain't got my glasses. So what it is and what it isn't, and who's it for? Facilitated by Portia Brown. And then we have on Thursday, join us for Thursday, From Shame to Shaman, facilitated by Michael Elam, I believe that is. So join us. For those who are new, come back, see us tomorrow with Portia, see us on Thursday with Michael. Next slide. And this is our schedule. We are on Zoom live space on Sunday, Tuesday, and Thursday, 7 a.m. to 8:30. And on Monday and Wednesday, we're here from 7 a.m. to 7:30. We're on Facebook Live and Zoom Live Workspace. And thank you. Stay in touch. Screenshot this. Share this page with your people. There's so much love in this community, and we are expanding and growing. And you can register for Wake Up. This is our Facebook community, Instagram, YouTube, and email. Yes, we are going to do another part. 2 parts. They asking for 2 parts for you brothers. Let's go. And so do we have our numbers for the winners? Hello?
Have Nigel picking the numbers. I think you just need a couple minutes.
Okay. All right. So I just want to say thank you again, everybody. Thank you, Kinja, for your vulnerability. You as well, Lerrod, like you said on live space, that you doing what you're doing with your wife. Like that is just so beautiful, but you guys are creating it together. And I just want to say thank you to Jude and to Ted. It has been so awesome that you said yes and that you poured into us from your perspective of sex, love, and intimacy. And I'm just filled with gratitude with who you are and also who you guys are for me. You know, just saying yes and standing for me has just been just phenomenal. All the men that have been on today. And so Jacqueline, the questions, Michelle, thank you for coming in, New, and everybody who joined us in this session today.
Meika, I have those names for you. Are you ready?
Sure, yes.
Alrighty, so we have selected Ange, A-N-G-E.
A-N-G-E. Ange, can you unmute and just say if you accept the winning?
Yes, peace, I accept.
Beautiful. So what you want to do is you want to get in contact with me. You can contact me on Meika, M-E-I-K-A, letter J, 74@gmail.com. And you can register for the course. Who's next?
Next, we have Michelle Estevez.
Michelle, you won. Do you accept?
Yes, I accept.
Beautiful. So if somebody could put my information into the chat, my information will be in the chat. You can screenshot it or save it, and then you get in touch with me that way, and you can register for the course. And who's next?
And we have Simone. Simone, are you able to come off of mute and accept?
Simone?
Are you there?
All clears have built-in speakers.
Okay, so can you pick another number? Just randomly pick somebody.
Absolutely. I will select Melanie Brown.
Melanie Brown, can you come off mute?
Yay! That was Shawnee there.
Melanie, can you come off mute?
Yes, I accept.
Awesome, beautiful. So you can get my information and you can reach out to me, and you just won the course. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Meika. Thank you, Kings.
Yeah,
Thank you
so
to King.
it's tradition for everybody to come off of mute and say and pour into us saying thank you. So
Thanks, Meika. Thanks, King.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, give 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 thanks.
Thank you,
Give
brothers.
thanks, thank you.
Beautiful,
Thanks, give thanks,
wonderful,
give thanks, give
enlightening
thanks, give thanks, give
information. We can be able to help others as well. Thank you so much.
Insight, insight onto how men
Let's move forward, everybody.
Beautiful.
I have me in one knee.
Big up.
And believe. I believe.
Looking forward to having you in this life on
Thank
place.
you.
Thank
Love y'all.
you.
Love y'all. Love y'all. Love you.
Much abundance to y'all.
So glad I was on
Love.
here.
God
forward,
bless you and
everybody.
hold you and
Love
keep
and
you, Father
juicy.
God.
I
Thank
hope
you,
Juicy.
Juicy.
And please come back and share with us
Juicy.
again, please.
Excellent lives.
Love. Thank you,
Whatever
John
you
and
want to
Nice.
create,
Johnny, we
bring the
love
juice.
y'all.
Keep it
respect.
dripping,
Love y'all
everybody. Keep it
so
dripping.
much. Thank
Love
y'all.
thyself.
Thank you.
Don't love
Wow,
yourself.
that was
Ain't nobody else
Let's
gonna
beautiful.
move
love
forward,
you.
everybody.
Love yourself.
Your
Thank you.
queens.
Yes,
Love and
yes,
namaste.
yes,
Thank you,
yes,
Queen.
yes, yes.
Everybody
On us.
go to Cash
Yes,
App, go to
yes,
Zelle, go
yes,
make it
yes.
rain. Show your
Love you,
appreciation. Don't
community.
send the
Thank you for
love.
Y'all
sharing.
was so
Congrats to all
awesome.
that won.
Thank
You're
Love
in for a
y'all.
treat.
I love y'all. I appreciate y'all so much.
Love you too.
Life.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank
Y'all are
you.
so awesome. I can't wait
Yes,
to do
that was.
men come back with their own
Beautiful.
sessions, right, Kinja?
Yes, come back, y'all. Come back.
For
Come
the
back.
next
Come
one.
back.
And
We
Lerrod
gotta do
again,
it
and Ted
again.
again, and Jude
Living
again. This is
part
so awesome. And I'm sure
2
John is
and
happy to see
3.
all the men in the place. John is like, yes, more
Yes,
manpower.
more men.
Yes.
Yeah.
We love the testosterone. Oh,
Yes.
so
Yes.
peace.